Again, who wouldn't want to go to New Zealand after seeing that video clip?
One? Oh, that's not very much. Look, we play this video clip because it gives you a very good impression about what New Zealand is. It's clean, it's pure, it's free, and the land of extreme sports. It's got lots of varieties, and we understand everybody coming to us saying, I want to go to New Zealand. And what we do is we assess what you can give to the country, where you would fit in under which pathway. We say the study to work to residence program. You might even be able to shortcut on a certain stage, but we focus on this because we have seen lots of Filipinos wanting to go through the study pathway. And we have seen that there is student advisors overseas. We are full licensed immigration advisors. We are entitled to give you a full advice on every section of the immigration, not just as an exempt education advisor speaking about education. We can give you a clear picture about what entitlements you have through your study, what entitlements you get after the study, and that is what a education provider is not allowed to do. They will not be able to tell you what work permit entitlements you may have from which category. So please be aware, we are full licensed immigration advisors.
Well, basically what we're saying, we have narrowed down the talk today to focus on the study, work, and residency. I just arrived in the booth and I have encountered people asking us, Ma'am, what can we study? Number one, we're not going to recommend you to study if you actually qualify with the other streams. Why are you going to be spending thousands of pesos, hundreds of thousands of pesos, if you qualify in different streams? So basically, when clients come to us, what we do is a one-on-one. It's a very comprehensive assessment based on your qualifications, based on your work experiences, based on everything that you have done in your life, basically, whether you have a familiar face in New Zealand or not. And after which we then, as my husband mentioned here, that we are full licensed, so we look into a different pathway. Maybe you're 35 years old and below, there's a stream for that. Maybe you have qualifications under the long-term skill shortage list that you could get into New Zealand under work visa. Why would you study? Or perhaps you are a registered nurse wanting to become become a registered nurse as well in New Zealand. Why do you need to study where we could do the process from here? Because basically what we look into as licensed immigration advisor is a holistic view kung ano yung dapat para sa inyo. It's not because we are recommending this pathway. For instance, as our talk is about study. We're recommending it because that's what we are selling to you guys. That's not. What we are selling you is an opportunity to eventually migrate, because that's what the Filipinos wanting to do anyway. If you want to be working overseas, we're not going to go to New Zealand. You would probably going to be working in Dubai or in Saudi or some areas. Mas malaki ang kita. But basically what New Zealand provides is longevity. You know, if you wanna aspire for a better life, to establish yourself in a better country, as you could see, as you know, New Zealand is the second less corrupt country in the world. It is also ranked as the fourth most livable country in the world. And you see kanina, di ba, may honesty box? Would you imagine having that in Philippines? Diba? So basically, those are the reason why. So when you study in New Zealand, as this talk is about, there are merits to it, but it's not for everyone. As I said, if there's another pathway for you, then explore that pathway first. But we also recommend studying to some people kung talagang walang pathway. And when we recommend a study to a person, especially those people coming to us, we consider number one, what would be the effect of the study? Because people have been saying, you study in New Zealand, you get 20 hours of work. Okay, the question is, the 20 hours of work, would that be able to sustain you? That's the number one question. Those people who are not living in New Zealand won't have a clue. Okay, but for advisors like us, who are actually living in New Zealand, who encounter students coming from all over the country, from the Philippines, telling us, well, the recommendation is for us to study, and so we wanted to go right away. But then we have encountered countless of nurses coming to our office saying, Ma'am, we were asked to study English, for instance. Okay, studying in English in New Zealand is a wonderful thing because then every day you could speak English. However, if you're doing a study in English to proceed with your bridging program, why don't you take the IELTS here? We have just witnessed a fantastic presentation earlier from IELTS, di ba? Why are you going to be spending 6 months of studying overseas getting the IELTS mark if you could do it here? The cost of studying IELTS or taking the IELTS here is around 10,000 pesos. So why would you want to do it overseas? You are going to be given 20 hours of working, but is that going to be enough for your rent? Is that going to be enough for you to sustain yourself or send money overseas? And aside from that, the reason why we are feeling so strongly about this is siguro po, we have encountered 50 or almost 50 people who come to us, nurses who blindly took the course IELTS in New Zealand. And they think that after coming to New Zealand, taking the IELTS, they will become a registered nurse.
I'd like to add something here to clarify the point of this study. We're both members and have been standing board directors of the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment, which is the lobby group, the industry body for immigration advisors and lawyers. We see that overseas education agents are trying to find this loophole to bring people to New Zealand, not always clearly pointing out every point of the study aspect. 20 hours of work in New Zealand, if you are a strong personality and can find a job, will sustain you. You will have a flat. Let's say you are renting out a flat with batchmates. It's so-called flatting. You can have a room. Yes?
Flat is actually a room.
It's not a full apartment. Don't get me wrong. You will be able to sustain yourself there. That's not a problem. You will be able to do your studies. You will gain probably work experience overseas and get a picture of it. You will be able to go to these places, do some extreme sports maybe if you got the funding to it. Don't get me wrong. If that is what you want to do, it's perfect. But don't think that your residence comes out of it automatically. There is steps throughout it, and you need to have a clear view on this, and that's why we encourage the people to come and see us as immigration advisors. So I hope you're going to take my advice. It's up to you. You're all adults.
Now going back to that thing for the nurses, once you have fulfilled your studying English and was able to pass on the 7-7 requirement, the other pain would be for you to submit your registration with the Nursing Council. Even if the registration for the Nursing Council will take about 1-2 months, and they're going to give you an okay to say, now you could do the bridging program or yung competency assessment program. The other pain would be to wait until you get a slot for the bridging program, which yun yung nagiging dilemma po, people coming there to study under the English route. Kasi it would take 6 months to 12 months before they would be able to secure a place. So, on the time that they're studying, they have 20 hours of work. After that, what happens? They could be in a visitor's visa, but they will not be eligible to work. When we take in people to become as clients, we present to them these scenarios. Okay, actually our company mantra is honesty, integrity, and ability, because we don't want people to have false expectations. Just by standing here for 30 minutes, people have been asking me, Ma'am, what will I study? Okay, they say I will do, not from here, I'm not naming any names, I will do a bachelor, a diploma in business. Number 1, you'd have to check, yes, you will be given a work permit after that, but the pain of renewing it lies on whether you have an individual capacity to apply or to be able to bag a skilled employment. In New Zealand context, a skilled employment doesn't have to be yung sa atin for trades. So there's